Hello everybody and welcome to our Yule edition of the Witch's Zodiac. Yule blessings and a winter solstice for myself and the wonderful astrologer Zoe. Hello Zoe.
Hello, hello.
Are you feeling wintry?
Merry something.
Merry something.
Everything and stuff.
We are very near the summer solstice. This is quite a head over heels kind of Lord of Misrule way of looking at it. We're going to be focusing on the winter solstice, dressed the part, looking very much like Santa's helper. How are you, Zoe?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. We've got our gear all set up. We're in the mood. We've been singing Christmas carols. So with winter solstice, it's pretty much the most famous celebration that has bases, in a pagan origin, an astrological origin. It would be really nice, hopefully, for us in this video to give people who are not really sure of the origins some real deep knowledge about where it all comes from.
So the winter solstice, it's just surrounded by so many different traditions, isn't it? And some of them we don't know where they come from, and other ones have been corrupted and all that kind of thing. But it's really very, very simple. It's when the sun is at its weakest, as you would. So basically the sun will rise and set at the same place for 3 days, smallest arc across the sky. And if you look back to our summer solstice video, we were explaining this, and then how the sun grows in its arc across the sky until it gets to the summer solstice, where it arcs the highest and has the strongest heat coming towards us as well. So we're going towards the winter solstice. Sun stands still 3 days. This is the light of the world dying on the cross to be reborn for anybody with a Christian background, because the cross is the Southern Cross constellation. So the light of the world dies, stands still for 3 days, rises again, and that's the rebirth of the sun. So it's simply a swap of S-O-N, S-U-N, and that's where the whole Christian thing came from. So yeah, we're just transiting from Sagittarius to Capricorn at this time.
Now Sagittarius I feel like Sagittarius is the epitome of Christmas. I love that kind of jolly ghost of Christmas present when
Brian
you've got
Blessed.
Brian Blessed. Yes, just Brian Blessed. Really. This whole video is about Brian Blessed. Amazing. And all the fruit. Not the fruit. We don't eat fruit at Christmas, but all the food and the drink and the jolly laughs and a little bit overdoing it, which Sagittarians kind of can do at times. So that energy of just let's have a laugh, let's have fun, let's celebrate, let's have a few too many, and overdose completely with our lovely Christmas food. And that's for Sagittarius. But on the day we go for the solstice, it goes to Capricorn, doesn't it?
That's right. So Jupiter, you've got Father Christmas, which is the Jupiter energy. Red and white, that's where we get the red and white Christmas thing from, way before Coca-Cola, before anybody starts thinking of the Coca-Cola myth. But red and white, the big belly of Jupiter as the planet, huge, big belly, and it rules expansion and long distance travel. So this is where the reindeer on the sleigh can travel round in one night. So it's that kind of thing. So you've got the joviality. The moons of Jupiter are called Jovian. So you've got that kind of happiness, that generosity, that travelling around in the sleigh.
Is there credit cardius as well?
Yes. And then there's a mushroom myth as well, which is what makes the reindeers fly, is they eat the mushrooms and then drink their own wee or something.
Shamans,
that's it.
That'd be quite complicated. The shamans partake of the poop. And the mushrooms we come through it, and the combination of that gives us astral travel and the flying across the sky and the reindeers. And also I like the fact that the reindeers, all the names of the reindeers, Rudolph and all that jazz. But at that time of year, reindeers who have horns are females. All the males have lost their reindeers. They've lost their reindeers. They've lost their horns. So actually, need to rename all the reindeers. Janet and
well, they've got Donna, but that means thunder rather than Donna as in the female now. Yes. So there's a challenge for any viewers. If you'd like to rename the reindeer for us, that'd be wonderful. So we've got the red cap mushroom, red mushroom with a white beard. That's where Father Christmas gets his white beard from. We've got some red and white going on here. Then we've got the flying reindeer, shamanic tripping round the world in a single night is Jupiter's expansive long distance travel reputation. The red and white jovial belt, the expanded belly, and the giving presents and the warmth and everything. But then what we see is we go careering down the chimney. And the chimney is the birth canal. So you've got the restriction of Capricorn and Saturn comes in then. So we've gone from swimming around in the waters or even in the ether before we're conceived, then we come screaming down that chimney and into the hearth fire. So you've got this kind of necessary restriction of that chimney and that birth canal. And there's so much you can say about Saturn. Saturn is Santa. That's where the word comes from. So,
and Saturnalia was the one of the old names for this time, the festival at this time of year, wasn't it? And it's whether you're good or bad came from there as well, because there's some of them are quite grotesque stories about the children that were bad, but Saturnalia, it would be Father Kronos, wouldn't it?
Yes.
As well, who'd say you're good or you're bad, and if you were, that's very Saturn, isn't it? Have you learned your lesson? Have you not learned your lesson?
Exactly, and Kronos times Saturn, all the same thing. So Saturn will bring rewards or punishment according to whether you've actually rolled your sleeves up and learned the lesson.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Saturn, Satan, Santa, all the same thing.
As children at home going,
oh my God! And we have this depiction in the Devil card, which you'll see is a card for Capricorn.
Yeah.
So this is the devil, as in Satan. But Satan just meant the opposer in the Bible. There wasn't anything bad. And we've got the goat there for Capricorn as well. So you can see all of that Capricorn strength and perseverance energy as we go through that time of the year. And just like, again, we looked at the summer solstice when the sun was at its height and it was going down the hill with the cheeses and stuff.
Remember the cheese?
Now what we're looking at is the mountain of Capricorn is the sun's ascent to its highest point. So Capricorns are said to set their sights on a goal and step by step achieve it. It's the sun climbing back up the mountain to its high point at the summer solstice. So that's where you get all of that energy coming in from.
And I think it does really feel it. As soon as you move to Capricorn, you kind of don't want to eat the cake. All the DVDs come out for exercises and kind of get into your goals, New Year's resolutions, setting your pace. And it's just interesting that that actually the actual Christmas celebration lands up when we're in Capricorn, which is kind of when we're over it all, aren't we? We're kind of over it all in the run up in Sagittarius time. And it's not just Christians. Mithras Mithras, a Roman god, was born in a cave, like Jesus born in a stable, and the cave representing the womb, the rebirth. And the pagan myths of this time of year is the child, the divine child, the sun, literally the sun, as we said earlier, is reborn, and he's often represented as the antlered god, being reborn. So you get in the lovely song, Holly and the Ivy, the running of the deer, it's all about the sun god, and the holly being the king, the masculine, and the ivy being the female, and the goddess, and the mating of the goddess and the god, bringing the sun god back into the land.
And then at the summer solstice as well, we had the mock battle of the holly and the oak, and that swaps,
I think I win this time. Yeah. We don't have them. Yes, holly wins this time. No, yes, oak wins this time. Sorry, oak wins. It's really confusing, isn't it? You think holly should win because it's Christmas, but it's not. It's oak time, and so until the oak wins, which means that the summer king starts to rule. He starts to gain in strength like the sun between now and the summer solstice.
And oak was the totem tree of the Druids. Or Druid is where the word Druid comes from. And I think for me, Capricorn's got a bit of an Ent-like quality for any Lord of the Rings fans out there. I see you like big, strong trees. So we've got this kind of Druid. The Druid name for the winter solstice is Alban Atur, which is the bear.
Let's talk about bears.
Yes, and Arthur and his 12 Knights of the Round Table, 12 signs of the Zodiac.
Something's ringing a bell here, I'm not quite sure what.
So we have the lovely Great Bear in the sky, very prominent at this time, and this is where we've got lots of lovely bear energy going on.
And that's kind of like going into the darkest night for transformation, isn't it? With that image, it just feels like, do you dare go to that longest, darkest night and come out reborn the other side?
So Art is the Druid name for bear.
I love that.
Strongly associated with fire. We're dealing with the hearth fire of Sagittarius here. And that's just such a beautiful, that's the judgment card, isn't it? From this amazing deck.
Love the WILDWOOD
Another
Tarot.
one to recommend. Absolutely gorgeous. This is the WILDWOOD Tarot by Mark Ryan and John Matthews. Once again, illustrated by Will Worthington.
Goodwill. And Mark Ryan was Nazir in Robin of Sherwood. And a thoroughly nice chap. But yes, I like this because it kind of really brings the challenge of the longest, darkest night home, and the Yule log would be there to light the way and to bring in the new year, or the rebirth of it wasn't the new year for the Celts, obviously Samhain was a new year, but it was that kind of, as it was the longest, darkest night, you would really be hoping for the rebirth of the sun, so you'd light that Yule log and carry it through to the new year, and it's something we can still do now, isn't it? And that's, or we can eat Yule log cake, I mean that's fine as well, I'm down with that. It's always about food with me.
Yeah, why not?
It all goes back into food.
Why?
So, I mean, there's so many things, isn't there, that people can do which authentically will celebrate Yule. When you it is annoying because you get really swept up in the consumerism aspect of it, and it's so hard not to in this day and age. But there's some real genuine things you can do to keep celebrating, and the Yule log is one. I mean, the trees, bringing the tree inside, that was from a Nordic tradition of you bring the branch in to keep the fairies and the spirits of the tree safe over the longest night, to keep them warm in the winter. Now, I think we've taken the mick with that a little bit and cut a whole forest down to be able to have plastic trees and stuff. But so the fairy lights on the tree actually represented the fairies or the spirits of the tree that would be kept inside the house, which is really nice. So when you kind of put your fairy lights on the tree, you can actually think that it's, you're
Beautiful.
re-invoking that kind of the spirit of the tree in your house.
Beautiful. And the star on top is the pole star, which is the guiding star. So we've got the Great Bear, that's also known as the Plough. And you'll find in the Christian calendar that one of the Sundays in January is Plough Sunday. And I think you're going from the Great Bear there rather than actually ploughing, which clearly we don't do when there's 6 foot of snow on the ground. So we've got this lovely Alban Arthur, the art, the bear, and all these beautiful myths. And of course, bears go into hibernation. So it's mirroring that. Okay, we've had the harvest, we've stored the food underground, we've lit the fires on bonfire night. We're now making the most of the provisions that we've got left. We're lighting the fire. The fire in roundhouses used to be in the centre, so there's something very shamanic about sitting around a communal fire. And for me, that is the essence of Sagittarius. It's the hearth fire. Yeah. So Aries is the spark, Leo is the midday sun. Sagittarius is the ancestral spark. So it's sitting around the fire, looking at the flames, telling stories, sharing. And it's just absolutely beautiful. So I think that's very authentic. Tinsel, on the other hand, is a bit more gruesome. Have I told you about the tinsel?
No, you haven't. Oh, right. Is this the gruesome story?
Yeah, tinsel's pretty gruesome. So change it to fairy lights or just pretend. But basically it's said that they dug up some of the meat from under the ground, slit it and threw the entrails over the tree to dry them, and that's the entrails glittering in the snowy moonlight was the origin of tinsel. I will never look at tinsel the same again. That is great. Just forget I told you that.
That's
but
like the Game of Thrones Christmas for everyone. Yeah, oh wow. Oh, I don't know how to follow that up really.
We got bells as well. Now the word bell comes from bell, which is the sun god.
Yes.
Simple.
Bring
plain,
it back from
and
entrails,
simple.
quick.
Yeah, quick. From the entrails and back into the sun. So the ringing of bells is always to do with the sun, and this is the rebirth of the sun. So that's another little reference there. And then I wanted to just say about the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is quite interesting because we have Christmas Day and then consider Boxing Day number 1. And you've got 12 days of Christmas until January the 6th, which is when we take the decorations down or burnt that greenery that we brought into the house. There was a purification that goes on at that time. It's got a name in the church calendar as well, but I can't remember it now. 6th of January. Anyway, so the 12 days of Christmas, if you're Aries, then you're focusing on Boxing Day. And if you're Taurus, the day after, and if you're Gemini, the day after. So what you need to do is use Boxing Day as day 1 and then count the number of days till you reach your sign, going from Aries through the Zodiac. And each one of those days is supposed to be supercharged for your sign. So this is your ultimate new moon times 10 to set your intentions. But also, I think it actually relates to the body as well, because the Zodiac just never stops with its correspondences. So a partridge in a pear tree is the pineal gland. And when you're singing that carol on the 12 days of Christmas, I believe that we're actually working through all the endocrine system in the body as well.
If you sing out all the detox and all that. Yeah, I like that as well. With the sort of the 12 days of Christmas, there's all the wild hunt doesn't stop either, because there's meant to be that time of year as well. I know we talked about Samhain, the wild hunt, but there's lots of myths that you shouldn't go out at night at this time of year because you might get swept up by the wild hunt. So that's still going on, and I read some Scandinavian folklore about Frau Holder, and the Holder, the wave. She would fly over the land, and very nicely she'd just shake her blankets and it would snow. But that's also linked to the wild hunt and the shamanic journeying over the land as well. So it's keeping going. And in Roman stuff, they just loved eating and being naughty, but the Lord of Misrule, and it's that kind of thing where anything goes at that time. And there was even a time where the servants would for a day or so, be able to do anything they like to their masters or lords and kind of, obviously too terrible, but basically get away with it. So it's the lord of everything being thrown upside down, a bit like us doing this winter solstice video in the summer solstice.
We're doing that well.
We're really good.
So what can people do other than the things that we've suggested already on actual Yule celebration?
Well, I think everything's stripped down to bare minimum, isn't it? I think just before we get to Yule, we can really banish and let go of a lot of the stuff that's been, we want to in that year. It is the darkest night, it is the longest night, and it's a time of really, before the new becomes reborn, letting go and working on banishing anything that we want to move away from. So that's before we get to the New Year's resolution. It's better to maybe start now. Not now, I mean on the winter solstice. And you can actually make some lovely decorations. You can make homemade gifts for people. It is a time of giving. It's not a time of getting in debt for it. It's a time of actually giving and giving genuinely and making something and crafting something for your loved ones as well. And cooking and drinking. And, as you say, they'd stored up all the food, and they were, before the summer's reborn, they were really celebrating and going to town with it on the darkest night. So you really can enjoy yourself and cook some nice food and make tree-shaped things and stars, knowing what it means a bit more, the spirit of the tree and the pole star.
You can do the thing with the oranges and the cloves. So some of my favourite herbs and spices are ginger and clove and orange, frankincense, gold frankincense and myrrh. I think those were a planetary alignment that they were talking about with the 3 wise men that went to visit the manger and everything. So again, that's all your stellar lore that you're looking at, with the 3 wise men following the star to see a king born, and it was a massive astrological alignment that was going on at that time. But the cinnamon and the orange and the frankincense and all that kind of stuff. I even dipped some wooden decorations in that, so that in the water, so it actually smells nice.
Oh,
and
lovely.
You can make sprays and perfumes and things like that.
And
for
mistletoe
people.
is very just.
Yes.
Mistletoe is the most sacred tree to the Druids and the goddess, and to that's fine to chase people around with mistletoe. That's completely just. We give that the approval.
Allowed.
So most of the things you do over Christmas, you can actually find the base for. So as long as you bring it back down to something that's realistic and not get carried up in the stress, you can actually find the heart and the root cause of many of the things we do at Christmas and continue it.
And maybe go out and feed the birds, because it's a tough time for the birds at that time of year. So if you're going on a snowy walk, you can collect some fallen wood. We used to spray it and put little berries on it and everything, but obviously only if it's fallen off. But take some offerings to the poor little spirits of the woods that are struggling to survive at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shall we wrap up
this
Yule edition? We're almost at the end of our cycle, aren't we? Not menstrual cycle. I meant the red. And then the cycle. We've got one more to go. One more video of our witch's Zodiac. So we've got Imbolc coming next, but this has been one of my favourite ones in this one as well. So I love Imbolc. It's that sign of hope that comes through. So more of that coming very soon. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Merry what not?
Merry what not?
Good Yule.
Yes. Bye. See you next time. Thank you once again for watching our video of the Witch's Zodiac. If you'd like to stay in touch and see Zoe's channel and visit her website, the details are...
My YouTube channel is Zoe Astro, ZOEASTRO, and my website is astrozo, ASTROZO.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And my web, this is my channel, and you can like, comment and subscribe if you like. All the stuff will be around here, and the links to the cards and stuff we've shown will be down here as well. See you next time. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.